I'll give you a rundown of the things that we're going to talk about today. This is a recap of Microsoft Ignite announcements for Security Copilot. So we're going to start with inclusion, and then we're also going to talk about some of the agents available across all the different experiences. So I get to start off with some of the most exciting news, which is what we call Security Copilot inclusion. And what that means is that now Security Copilot will be included in Microsoft 365 E5 licenses. So this is a chance for you to start using agents in your daily workflow across all of the various Microsoft security products. If you were an existing Security Copilot customer, you got this benefit starting November 18th. And starting early next year, it will begin rolling out to all the other tenants that have Microsoft 365 E5. I just want to make a note. I'm trying to answer some most commonly asked questions about this. So it is only Microsoft 365 E5 licenses, so it does not apply to government or education SKUs. Any E5 add-ons or anything like that are also not included. It is straight Microsoft 365 E5 customers for now. Your monthly allotment will be 400 SCUs for every 1,000 seats, but that scales up and down. So if you have 1,000 seats, you will get 400 SCUs a month. If you have 2,000 seats, you'll get 800. If you have 500 seats, you will get 200 SCUs. If you have 20 seats of E5, you will get at 8 SCUs a month. So we believe that this is a good allotment of SCUs in order to begin using all of the experiences across the various security products. But there will also be an option to have overage in case that allotment doesn't meet your needs. But we're pretty confident that for the vast majority of customers, this will be more than enough SCUs to handle all of the experiences and agents across the various workflows. If you have any questions about inclusion, I would encourage you to just ping them into the Q&A, and I will begin monitoring and answering some of those questions as we move forward. The Security Copilot inclusion will cover you across all of the Microsoft Copilot experiences, Defender, Entra, Intune, and Purview, which is what we're here to learn about today. But it will also apply to all of the partner-built Security Copilot agents. So if you have any of these products, these are some of our featured agents that are available in the security store right now. And you can also build your own Security Copilot agents in the Security Copilot portal as well. So this is really exciting news. We're happy to get everybody using Security Copilot in their experiences and where they are today. So please look forward to more information on this. I did want to mention that you will receive a notice. So if you are an E5 customer, you will receive a notice 30 days before your tenant is enabled for Security Copilot. So you will have some heads up as well. But with that, I am happy to answer any more questions about inclusion in the chat as we go on. But since we have such a packed agenda, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to the Intune team so they can begin talking about some of the cool new stuff in Intune.
All right, awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Zineb, product manager in the Intune team, and I will get you started with the latest agents that we have here. Also have with me Oluchi, Asari, and Mike. We'll talk through these agents, and hopefully we'll be able to answer some questions and get feedback as well. Awesome. So getting started, we'll talk a little bit more about what's new in change management in Intune. One of the pain points that we've heard historically from customers is that IT admins are often required to evaluate requests and change control decisions with very limited context. So you can see approvers, folks sitting at review boards, manually investigating whether a request is safe to approve, often relying on those fragmented data points and inconsistent processes. So what's new today is we are announcing a change review agent that will basically come in as an intelligent checkpoint before these critical actions are finalized in Intune. And so I'll talk a little bit more about what's in scope for this agent, and then we'll spend a little bit of time to take a look at the demo and understand this scenario. So the change review agent today focuses on the multi-admin approval feature in Intune, which is looking at script requests currently. So the multi-admin approval feature is basically allowing second admins to take a look at requests for scripts and understand the risk and be able to proceed or reject those requests. The goal for this agent is to automate these risk-based approvals. So what we're doing is we get a lot of data from multiple security platforms at Microsoft. So you will see data coming from Defender Threat Intelligence, Entra ID protection, and also Intune to be able to give you that AI-generated context. The second thing that you'll see here, which will be coming up very soon, like we announced in Ignite, will be a customization for this agent. So customers will be able to provide us with custom instructions or standard operating procedures, instructions that matter to their organization. So you can customize this experience based on how you develop or deploy scripts, and hopefully you will be able to expand this experience across different payloads as well. So the last thing I want to also focus on here is the great thing about this agent is it does enable admins to be proactive and understand risks at scale, which is something that was not very useful in the past, or like when you go to multi-admin approval and you see all that data, you're not able to understand how it could impact your devices when you deploy those scripts. So let's take a look here from a user perspective. So I'll play this demo and then we'll go through it. The new agents blade on Intune will have all these agents that are in preview. So for the change review agent, you get to see all the plugins, like I mentioned, Defender and threat intelligence data that is required to be able to get these suggestions. And then when you get to the overview page, you can see the suggestions based on the risk threshold. I'll take an example here of a high malicious script context. So you will be able to get the suggested action, but also AI-generated content on the purpose of the script, the summary, and how will this impact your organization. So we can see here that the script hash has been classified as malicious by Defender. You get also a lot more details on alert history, business justification, and an analysis on the requester from the user risk profile. And then when you click on view request, you are still able to see the data that comes in from the multi-admin approval. And like I mentioned in the past, this is the only context that you are getting. With this agent, you're able to get even more drill downs and be able to approve or reject in a more streamlined way. This is just the beginning of this end-to-end flow. We would love your feedback as we expand this experience in multi-admin approval and outside of that, so we can enable, this agent to be plugged in more change management workflows. Now I'll talk a little bit more about our feedback mechanism within this agent, and you'll see this pretty much across all the Intune agents as well. This is very helpful for us during the public preview as we do review these feedback points and understand what matters to you the most. It is a thumbs up and thumbs down experience, and you can also leave free form text here on things that you'd like to see change or feedback about things that worked well for your company. Awesome. So this was a high level of the change review management. I will hand it over to Oluchi to talk a little bit more about what's coming up for the offboarding device agent.
Oluchi's just calling back in. He was unfortunately kicked off by his internet connection. So let's give it a few seconds, or Zineb could maybe go to the next one and we'll just get back to Oluchi.
Yep, sounds good. Let's talk about the policy agent then.
Awesome. Thanks, Zineb. Hey, everyone. I'm Mike Danoski. I'm a PM here in Intune. We're going to talk about the policy agent today. And so when we were looking at scenarios where we could really leverage AI to help Intune administrators, one of the tasks that can take up a lot of time is just the manual research of understanding the requirements and regulations of both your company policy and any regulatory compliance requirements that you have or may have in your environment. Some examples here. Many of you may be using the CIS baseline or are beholden to using settings from the STIG or many of the other sort of compliance bodies that exist that are required to sort of manage certain types of devices and the data that they handle. And so today, folks will sort of read these manually or do research or translate them from other management platforms into Intune policy. And so what we're focusing on with this agent, with our policy configuration agent, is the ability to take all of this data and all of this information and all of this research and automate it in a way where AI can help you translate all of those requirements and all of that content into Intune policy. This makes it really easy and straightforward for you to understand how those requirements translate into Intune so that you can cut down on that time required for both research as well as the manual entry of creating those policies by hand. So if you would go to the next slide, please. So let's see it in action. We'll go ahead and start the demo and I'll talk through what we're seeing here. And this is available today. And so actually you can minimize that. It'll, well, this is fine. So there's two parts of this. The first part is the knowledge source. And so this is how the agent will gain an understanding of some of the requirements that are in your environment. And so in this case, we're going to be uploading a document that determines or that specifies what settings are required for our baseline. Now you can drag and drop a file in here. And you can, today this supports up to 25 KB. We'll be increasing that. And it's also best to use text files now. We'll be adding additional formats in the future. But once that's uploaded and finished, now when I create a policy draft and I name it and describe it, you'll notice that third row down, I can also add a knowledge source. And in that knowledge source, I can reference that thing that was just uploaded, that baseline that was just uploaded. Now when I create a policy, the settings that it picks will be based on ones that were mapped from that knowledge source. Now, this isn't required that you have the knowledge source. You can certainly do a natural prompt or an open prompt. You can even add the policy doc when you go. But you'll see here when it generates settings and gives you an approach and some insights around the policy that's being created. And we also show down here that there's a value, the setting, the value, and confidence score. We also have a citation as to where within that compliance doc that control was mentioned. Now, when you click Create Policy, this is going to bring you straight over into the settings catalog and add all of these settings directly in. This is going to cut down on all that time. I can then target it. These are not automatically targeted. And I'll just point out a reminder with a confidence score and with anything that's AI generated, it's always best practice to go back and review these. It's great to go, and then also you'll notice once you create the policy or when you're editing it, you can use all the existing Copilot features like going and asking, what does this setting do? How is it used? Is it used in other policies? And so the agent's goal is really to help you with that mapping and research to make sure that your policy creation is grounded in your regulatory compliance requirements. And like I mentioned earlier, you can also just do a natural prompt. You can specify in your prompt the types of settings that you're looking for, the types of the outcome that you're trying to drive. Like maybe you want to reduce distractions on devices, or you want to increase security through, against data exfiltration, and you can let the agent run in a way where it'll be a little bit more free form versus uploading the doc. You can also upload a doc just for that one run, and it won't be maintained over time for the overall knowledge flow for reusability. So with that, thank you. That was the demo for Policy Configuration Agent. And just as a reminder, there's a human in the loop that just want to sort of remind you once more. After reviewing the mappings and then also reviewing the draft policy, it's always good to understand what those settings are doing. You can read the tooltips, use the Copilot functions to review them even deeper and give a more thorough review. And then also, if it's good, give us feedback. If it's bad, give us feedback. If something needs improvement, maybe we gave you the wrong policy setting, maybe you hit a snag in the flow. Maybe you'd just like to see a little bit more insight, or you have a suggestion on something we could do a little bit better, or some information that you had to go dig up manually. Give us that feedback. We have a thumbs up and thumbs down, and you can send that, and that goes straight to our team. And then for the next slide, we also have product feedback for our team via email. And then also just with events like this, or also head over to the aka.ms/Intune Agents forum and give us feedback, join our feedback sessions. Feedback is how we make these scenarios great, and we really hope you enjoy trying out the policy configuration agent. And with that, I'm going to hand back to Oluchi. We'll jump back a few slides to talk about our next Intune agent.
Thanks for the handoff, Dano. Hi, everyone. My name is Oluchi, the product manager for Device Offboarding Agent. Really excited to talk to you guys today. One of the problems we've been hearing from customers is device discovery inside your tenant. Is it managed? Is it unmanaged? Is it with an Entra, with an Intune? And this agent helps solve that. The agent will look at all the data sources across all your sources to help you identify which devices actually need to be offboarded. How we go about that too is where we collect the signals within Intune and Entra and determine the offboard eligibility based on the thresholds within the organization and like those specific custom instructions. And the agent will provide suggestions and actions with like detailed rationale, and then go in and the admin remediation. So the admin will review and provide approved actions for the agent will provide approved actions for the admin to accept. So a few things that were the problems that we're solving is helping to eliminate the residual records within Entra, help reduce the manual scripting that we've heard customers talk about, and the fragmented workflows. So within here, we're helping discover those unprotected devices, helping offboard those, automate the offboarding within those devices, and then mitigating those compliance risks as well. Where here we'll kind of go into a deeper look of what the actual customer and admin is looking at when they go and run the device offboarding agent. So within here, we'll kind of dive into a quick demo of what that looks like. But before we get into, we go to the next slide. But before we get into the demo, we want to take a look at some of the components.
Yes, trying to run the demo, Oluchi. Give me just 1 second.
No worries. I guess while we wait for the demo to load, I know some of the questions may be, oh, what platforms are currently supported? Well, we currently support iOS, iPadOS, macOS, Android, Linux, as well as Windows. And for those ownership, it's within corporate owned as well as like personal BYOD. So corporations who have their own BYOD programs could also utilize device offboarding agent.
Yeah, let me share back. I am not sure that the demo would be loading. Let me know if you can see it. All right, perfect.
All right. If we take a look within the demo, we see here that it was last run November 10th, 2025. As we take a closer look here within the settings page, we see that there, one thing to call out here, we want to take a look at the input of custom instructions. So as IT admin, I'm saying, hey, device offboarding agent, I want to offboard all the devices within Intune that are all in Entra, except for the ones that haven't been checked in within the last few days. I go in, place into the custom instructions. Within that, I go and check what it's been ran. See here, we see the 10 personal devices that are no longer in Intune, but still within the portal. And these devices should be removed. We have in the recommendations that we give on the recommended actions, one of the actions is being able to actually disable devices right here within 1 click, well, 2 clicks, being able to confirm, and then the devices will be disabled. We also see you could download the list of affected devices and being able to see that within a .csv file. And then within there, we were able to run the agent, determine devices that have been affected, as well as disable them, all within the agent. Thank you so much, and I'll pass it on to the next team for their presentation.
All right, thanks, folks. We'll hand it over to the Entra team.
Hey everyone, my name is Priyanka and I'm a product manager on the Entra AI Innovations team. Along with me, there's Tiana and Maggie who are also on same teams, and we all work together to bring Security Copilot in Entra to you. On the next slide, we see that Security Copilot is directly embedded in Entra portal itself. Through the next couple of minutes, we bring to you the updates that have happened in the last couple of months. So just to build a mental model, Security Copilot in Entra is offered in two ways. One is through a natural language chat-based experience, which is more of a generalist. You can come and you can ask natural language queries. The other are our agentic experiences. We have over 4 going into public preview or already in public preview in GA, and then we are continuing to build more. So Diana will talk to us about agents, and then I would help you get looped in on the updates on the chat experiences. Next slide, Maggie. Perfect. So this is how our chat experience looks. So if you go onto the Entra portal, there is a button that says Copilot right at the top, and then if you click and open the button, the chat experience powers up. You can answer natural language based queries about everything and anything Entra, and it'll provide you an answer. We designed Security Copilot in Entra to empower admins to do their jobs more efficiently, more faster, and by providing them all the context at the tip of their hands. So before we dive into the demo, another thing to keep in mind is how a chat experience works is pretty simple. It's nothing but a natural language to MS Graph query generator. So in the backend, we've designed it so that you no longer have to remember those long graph queries or scripts, and then you can just come and ask a question. Hey, show me failed sign-ins in last 24 hours for Priyanka, and it'll fetch all the data for you. Yeah, so let's dive ahead in the demo and see a couple of things, couple of advancements that we've made. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is data exploration through for large and complex responses. So a feedback we consistently got in last couple of months is, hey, you truncate our responses. So our system was built on LLM executing these calls, and because there are token limits associated with LLMs for questions like, hey, list all members of a dynamic group in my tenant, or list all conditional access policies configured in my tenant, or how many failed sign-ins occurred in the last 24 hours. Those are generally large data responses that have hundreds or thousands of entries, depending on your tenant size. But then earlier we were truncating and we were just showing you top 10 or top 20 results. But that would often lead into confusion that, hey, do I just have 10 failed sign-ins, or do you only show 10? So we resolve this issue by something that's referred to as Data Explorer. It's a new UX that brings to you all the entries, all the hundreds and thousands of entries. It also shows you the graph query that was associated to fetch the response, and yeah, you can beautifully see the entire grid with no longer truncated responses at the tip of your fingertips. Soon, I think we are planning to add more features into it, where you can download these results, you can export them, you can do more reasoning or more things with them. So that's planned for coming few months. Next slide, Maggie. Can we see a quick demo?
Give me a list of users in the Human Resources department. Copilot shows us the response in the chat experience. This shows us the top few results. Copilot now comes back and says that there are more users. Using this open list button, we can now see the full and complete response. We can also see the MS Graph query that helps us understand how Copilot give me a list of users in the Human Resources department. Copilot shows us the response in the chat experience. This shows us the top few results. Copilot now comes back and says that there are more users. Using this open list button, we can now see the full and complete response. We can also see the MS Graph query that helps us understand how Copilot came up with the response. You can copy the graph query for use in other tools.
Perfect. So along with Data Explorer or better data visualizations and data representation, we are also excited to announce that we are now starting to build support for write actions in Security Copilot and Entra. But please note, currently you cannot go and ask, hey, create a user, because we got like good feedback from all of you that, hey, if in order to trust AI to be able to do write actions, we need to ensure a lot of guardrails, a lot of safety mechanisms. So we are slowly and gradually releasing scenarios bit by bit. Currently, we only support one write action scenario that's elevating for PIM roles. But yeah, the problem that write actions are designed to solve is that you have to hop across different portals, and then we want to mitigate this for you so that in one experience you can just with just natural language you can ask and depend on Copilot to do the job for you. Of course, like I think with write actions, there comes more responsibility of being safe and keeping human in the loop, getting more explicit consents from the user, and with all of these safety mechanisms, we will continue to bring more and more write action scenarios to you. Before we dive into the demo, another thing that I want to share is the write actions operate differently than read actions. For read actions, the LLM generates the query that finds the query that has to be executed, and it also goes ahead and executes those queries. But for write actions, LLM is only coming up with the query that needs to gets executed. All the calls or execution calls are happening client side, so that it's respecting your RBAC, and if you do not have right permissions to perform something, Copilot is not doing that for you. So with keeping this in mind, we've continued to build write actions. So the scenario that's currently available is PIM JIT elevation. How it gets triggered is often a lot of the times we are asking Copilot questions that we do not have right roles or permissions for, but we do have eligible assignments to perform these roles. So what Copilot does is, instead of just like coming with a brick wall response and saying, hey, you do not have right permissions, Copilot now goes back and checks your eligible assignments and sees if you have the right eligible assignment. It will come back in and file the activation request for you and asks you to consent to submit the role activation request. Yeah, so that's what it's designed to help you with, and we can go to the next slide and watch demo.
Often have eligible roles that they can activate into to get access and continue in their investigations. Entra Copilot keeps admins at least privilege while at the same time enabling them to get their investigations and tasks done, all within the Copilot chat window. In this demo, Mamta has a few eligible roles in this tenant. Without having an active assignment for the required role, she doesn't get access to review logs or perform any security investigations in this tenant. Copilot comes back stating that she is not authorized and does not have sufficient permissions. Copilot detects the permission gap, checks for eligible roles, and proposes a just-in-time access for the security reader role. It pre-populates a short duration and justification for admin approval. Depending on her task for the day, she chooses to activate the reports reader role to ensure least privilege. Copilot comes back and asks her to activate the role. Copilot submits the activation request. After the role reviewer reviews and approves, she has the required permissions to see the response to this prompt. After her tasks are complete, she can ask Copilot to deactivate her role. Copilot performs the deactivation and confirms that the admin is back to a least privileged role. There is always human approval before any right action can be performed.
Perfect. And I think with this, we are also super excited to announce that Microsoft is making available an MCP server for enterprise. It's a mouthful name, but it's nothing but bringing you Entra MS Graph APIs for faster and easier integrations. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, a system, a technology that the industry is adapting to super fast. And we've often seen Entra admins or IT analysts struggling to integrate custom APIs into their flows. There are more like compliance risks when connecting these AI systems to Entra data. So MCP Server for Enterprise is a Microsoft-hosted, Microsoft-powered, a secure implementation of the Open Model Context Protocol, which provides you standardized, governed, and a safe access to Entra data. On the next slide, let's see just very quickly what MCPs are. So they are nothing. They're open protocols that enable integration between an LLM model and external tools. And then there is an MCP client that talks to the MCP server and eventually gets you the answer. In our MCP server for enterprise, we currently have 3 tools that generate queries, that create queries, and that execute queries. So this is what the MCP server for enterprise is supposed to do. Today, it's available for you to integrate and use it through 3 big platforms, that is Visual Studio Code, GitHub, and ChatGPT and Claude. So you can integrate those. There are Learn articles that we can share through which you can understand the process of integration with this MCP server. Let's quickly go through the next slide and watch demo.
Here are a few LLM model options. Let's try out a few prompts. Let's try with Claude Sonnet 3.7. Let's try a prompt with GPT-4o. This question has 2 intents. The first intent is to get the admins in the admin roles. The second intent is to get their auth methods.
Before I hand over to Diana, Maggie, if we can go to the quick slide, I think we'd just like to summarize by saying that we've brought these resources at your fingertips so that developers and IT admins can do the job much easier and in a much easier and a faster way. So with the MCP server or with Security Copilot, these systems are designed to understand your natural language intent and break them into the queries. You can come up with complicated questions, complex questions that are that needs to be divided into multiple steps to get a response, and Copilot will do that for you. So with this, I think Diana, please take us through what all exciting agents Microsoft Entra has.
Thank you, Priyanka. Hi, everyone. I'm Diana, and I'm also a PM on the AI innovations team. And I am super excited to share with you all one of our newest agents in Entra. First, we'll get started with the identity risk management agent. So moving on to the next slide. The identity risk management agent in Entra helps identity administrators and SOC analysts continuously monitor for risky identities by analyzing identity risks and guiding admins through remediations to improve security posture and operational efficiency for organizations. Let's take a look at a demo to learn more about this agent.
I'm Connie, an identity administrator at Contoso Outdoors. My primary responsibility is to collaborate with Roger and his team to keep our organization safe. We face a challenge. We're unable to triage, investigate, and remediate risky users in our organization due to their volume and limited staffing. I'm concerned that this lack of oversight could lead to compromised accounts and security breaches. Today, resolving such risks means manually investigating logs, correlating signals, and deciding on remediation. This process is not only manual but also time-consuming and reactive, often taking up to 30 minutes per user, and it leaves gaps when my team isn't available or can't handle the volume of risk alerts generated in my organization. Let me show you how I use the Identity Risk Management Agent to proactively manage identity risk alerts and keep my organization safe. I land on the new Risky Users blade, the most visited page in identity protection, and prepare to manually investigate risky users as I normally would. But this time, I notice a banner introducing the Risk Management Agent and decide to give it a try. The onboarding experience begins, and I'm impressed that the agent is already providing insights specific to my tenant. At this stage, all remediations require administrator approval, but a setting will soon be available to allow the agent to perform remediations automatically. I learn more about the agent and click Start Agent. The agent immediately begins running, investigating newly detected risky users in my tenant. By default, the agent continuously monitors my tenant, checking for new risky users every 5 minutes and automatically investigating them. Within minutes, the agent completes its first run and provides a summary along with remediation suggestions. If a user is determined not to be compromised, the agent suggests dismiss risk. If a user appears to be compromised, the agent recommends reset password. I can apply these actions in bulk with a single click, or I can chat with the agent to learn more. In chat, I can ask questions in natural language. For example, why do you suggest resetting the password for these users? Because the chat is context-aware, I don't need to specify which users. The agent already knows. After processing, the agent responds with a summary and detailed risk factors for each user. The agent can also answer questions related to other risk data or audit logs to help me better understand why a user is considered compromised. To learn more about a user, I can click into the detail page. The agent view displays basic information, the agent's verdict, and a comprehensive summary. Key risk factors are highlighted on the right, offering quick, actionable insights, something me and my team love. Charts show the user's historical risk level and trends. A map view helps locate risky sign-ins, which is very convenient. An agent run can also be triggered manually, and the agent can be managed in settings. I can view past activities or update agent configurations. I can also give custom instructions to the agent, and the agent will store in its memory for the future. For example, always suggest password reset if a user signs in using a Tor browser. After clicking Confirm, we see that the instruction is successfully recognized, stored, and can be viewed and managed in the memory settings page. From that point forward, the agent will apply these instructions during investigations, creating a tailored experience. So, as you can see, what traditionally takes 30 minutes now takes less than 3 minutes with just a few clicks and a tailored experience. Previously, 80% of medium risk alerts were left uninvestigated, but now the agent can cover them all. I'm so happy knowing that my organization is safer thanks to the ease and speed of the Identity Risk Management Agent.
Awesome. I hope you all are super excited about this agent. Now we got one more agent that we wanted to announce today, and that's the App Lifecycle Management Agent. So this agent is actually very interesting as well because it helps identity and network admins manage the entire life cycle of applications within Microsoft Entra. So now let's take a look at another demo to learn more about this agent.
As an IAM admin at Zava, I'm not only trying to manage all my new Gen AI apps and AI agents, I'm also trying to manage the risk of hundreds, sometimes thousands, of existing applications, both managed in Entra and not yet managed in Entra, including private and SaaS apps. With limited visibility and inability to prioritize effectively, prevention becomes guesswork. Today, I want to show you how the new app lifecycle management agent in Microsoft Entra is transforming the way we manage and secure our applications, end to end. The agent involves value for both the IAM admin and the network access admin to make this possible. Let's dive right in. With the app lifecycle management agent, I can see suggestions to onboard new enterprise applications from these private apps identified in network logs right from the Entra Admin Center. For example, based on the global secure access network telemetry, a new private application accessed by multiple users was detected. The agent brings this to my attention and suggests onboarding the app. I click on Review Suggestion, and the agent's onboarding panel appears with all the relevant details: destination FQDN or IPs, ports, and the users who accessed it. It also provides 3 auto-generated app naming suggestions that help me identify the app type and align it with the organization's naming standards. No more guesswork. These names are generated using AI, which considers multiple collected network signals and the names of existing applications in my organization. After reviewing the suggestions, I click on Apply Suggestion, which opens an enterprise app creation page with all the relevant information. Once the app is created, I can govern it and apply a different set of conditional access policies. But it doesn't stop at onboarding. The agent also helps me tackle one of our biggest challenges: unused, high-privileged apps that increase our attack surface. Lots of customers have this problem. Many enterprises like Zava with thousands of unused apps just sitting around in their environment without a clear business purpose. The Microsoft IT team has cleaned up a whopping 250,000 unused apps, including AI apps. They've been helping to build this agent to ensure it scales to their large enterprise use cases and the prioritized, planful burndown of unused app attack surface. To get started with the burndown, back on the main agent page, I click the Remediate Apps tab and review a pre-sorted report of high-privileged and used applications. The agent even suggests probable app contacts, using actual usage data and AI to fill in gaps where owners aren't obvious. With a single click, I can assign these contacts in the agent's memory and then trigger outreach. The agent sends a Teams bot message to app owners, asking them to confirm if the app is still needed or can be safely disabled. This two-way communication is seamless. Owners can respond directly in Teams, and their decisions are tracked automatically for admins like me to review. Think about all the door-knocking time with emails or Teams messages this saves me. Let's say that after reviewing the report and communicating with app owners or suggested contacts, we've identified a batch of high-risk apps that are no longer needed. The agent guides me through a safe, customizable disablement plan, prioritizing apps with names like Demo or Test for early action with minimal impact. I can review, customize, and execute the plan in just a few clicks. The results are reflected immediately, and our attack surface shrinks without disrupting business operations. I can view all disabled apps in the list at the top if anything needs to be reversed later. Before the agent, these workflows took hours, sometimes days, of manual effort, spreadsheets, and endless back and forth.
Awesome. And just to close up, we wanted to share that everything you've seen today reflects our commitment to helping identity professionals use AI across the real workflows that they live in. Our mission is to deliver agents that remove friction at every stage of that life cycle. And with our 4 agents now available in GA and Preview, we're just beginning to transform these high-effort, high-impact workflows with dedicated AI. For example, the conditional access optimization agent, which many of you have already used, helps admin tune and harden access policies. The access reviews agent streamlines reviews and owner responses. The app lifecycle management agent, like we saw today, reduces app sprawl and cleans up unused permissions. And finally, the identity risk management agent accelerates investigations across risky users and workload identities. So to get started, please take a look at our Learn documentation on Security Copilot in Microsoft Entra. Thank you so much. And next, passing on to our colleagues at Purview.
Awesome. Thank you for that transition. Hi, everyone. So we're going to be covering Copilot and Purview specifically. I have my colleagues Alex and Patrick who will be here to answer any questions and speak on other topics within Copilot and Purview. So let me just share my screen. Great. So we'll be talking about the Security Copilot capabilities in Microsoft Purview today. So everything we heard from customers directly has shaped these capabilities. And in DSPM, prompt books are the templates that structure investigations, and open prompts allow you to choose your own journey and ask questions in natural language. Within data loss prevention, Copilot's policies insights help look at existing policies and find gaps to give you improvements. And lastly, in insider risk management and compliance, teams can ask in natural language to find all communications related to a certain project that they might want to know more about, and then get actionable insights in just a couple of minutes. So this is an overview of the strong foundation we have today. So let's look ahead to see where we're really going with all of this. So you may have noticed that there is no longer an alert triage agent for DLP and IRM, and this was by design because instead of adding a multitude of different features and agents, we consolidated them into a single unified experience. So we have the data security posture agent in preview later that uncovers sensitive content and improves policy hygiene, and then the other being the data security triage agent that now helps analysts prioritize critical alerts, including endpoint DLP and custom sits, along with new remediation capabilities for data overexposure. And as a note, both of these agents now support Entra Agent ID as well. So really, I'll walk you through the data security triage agent today, show you a little demo, and then pass it over to Alex, who will be covering the posture agent as well as DLP policy Copilot embedded enhancements. So this is pretty much what it looks like on the user side. So let's pretend we're pretty much just a user going into data loss prevention, and we'll see here how the data security triage agent works. You'll see it'll integrate with Microsoft Teams to help remediate sensitive information. So on this page, I see a huge group of alerts. You see 406 of them, but really the agent has already categorized this into little buckets for you. So you've got the needs attention or less urgent category, and this way we're able to save so much time on sorting and reviewing more critical alerts. So once we click into these alerts within needs attention, we'll pretty much see here a quick summary of what's happening. So I can see this alert relates to intellectual property and patented data. I also see the triage agent has given me a comprehensive explanation of 3 different risks here. So you'll see the sensitivity, exfiltration, and policy risk at the bottom. And here we can see that these 3 sensitive files that the agent gives you, you also have an opportunity to see where the agent can give, you can give the agent feedback. But at the bottom here, you'll see these different files that have been exfiltrated. So we'll know here that we want to take some next steps to remediate any of this intellectual property and patented data. Another note I wanted to add here is that we've also added some new capabilities, such as being able to provide feedback to train the agent to better fine-tune false positives, get insights into applied feedback by reviewing details of the alert, and then understand agent triage limitations as it pertains to specific policies. And so really, once I'm able to go through all this, this is a huge time saver because, I mean, I've already learned about all the different risks that this agent has shown to me and given me an explanation of. I know exactly what this policy alert is about, and I can even see the asset summary and then the agent analysis. So I'm able to see how it come to this reasoning, as well as an understanding of what these assets are. So users don't have to manually find all this information. They save a lot of time by just looking at this quick summary up front that's given to you by the agent. So logically, the next step may be to reach out to the document owners or the person that may have accidentally shared the sensitive information to have them remediate this. But this can be inefficient, having to track them down and explain all the information that needs to be remediated. So now we'll see how the triage agent does this on the other end. Over here, you'll see that these are the different assets and their remediation status. And so we'll pretty much see how it looks and integrates with Microsoft Teams. So you get this notification here that says action required, sensitive information found. It says that these documents specifically have a patent number and even financial data here. So on the user side, you'll be able to remediate this information directly. So now, personally, as a user, I don't have to go out and reach out to the document owner to say, hey, you accidentally put this patent number here. Can you please fix it, clean this document up so that it no longer has the sensitive information? So once the user is able to go into here, remediate it, the status will then update. And then you'll see on the background side in this dashboard portal, it'll then change the remediation status to then remediated. And so similarly, in Insider Risk Management, users can also visit the triage agent and learn about user risk details. So the agent performs similar categorizations. You see it has all needs attention, less urgent, not categorized categories. But here you can learn more about the alert and user risk details. So over here within the agent view, you'll see the triage agent provides a generative AI-based summary with activities performed and more. It identified a user specifically here where it says that it also determined Daisy as a high impact user. So it also determined user risk, activity risk, and file risk that determines how the alert is categorized in IRM. So all this is done without needing to even look through activity logs, risk profiles, and more, saving users a lot of time and effort. And so here the user is flagged as a disgruntled employee. I can learn more through this categorization from the agent. And now I'll pass it over to Alex to talk about the data security posture agent. But as you can see, it's a huge time saver, being able to mitigate all this manual tasks and being able to reach you where you already are.
Thanks, Thao. One moment and I'll share my screen. So let me introduce you to Lauren, who was our data security admin. Lauren can now leverage our data security posture agent in DSPM, which is the new genius in town, so to speak. This agent is all about helping admins improve their posture by providing insights, showing powerful recommendations, generative AI generated summaries, LLM assisted job completion tasks, and much, much more. It really is a fresh college grad, so to speak, learning and improving with time. Currently, its primary role is to help discover sensitive data across your data estate using simple natural language-based search. So we can say goodbye to the old keyword-based, filter-based search tools. So being able to harness the power of LLMs, the agent essentially matches the intent to the scoped content across your M365 ecosystem. So looking at your documents, emails, and messages, and then it provides quick results with associated risks. Let's see how it helps Lauren. So starting first, Lauren has to simply select her scope of search called data sources. The locations can be SharePoint, OneDrive, or user mailboxes. In our case, since Lauren knows about the exfiltration of Project Nebula documents, she is keenly interested to search for related documents in some of the known locations that may hold them. So for example, R&D, tenanted projects, and so on. She can always do a tenant-wide search too if needed, but a scope search would help give her faster results. Post-scope, she simply enters in her natural language prompt. It's essentially just like asking an associate to get the data that you would want and leave the job finding to them. So here, if she wants to see all the files containing project or product details and roadmap items for Project Nebula, what she thinks is what she enters. And then she'll click Run for the agent to run the LLM models and determine the matches.
The agent run progress is shown in the left-hand side with a list of all the previous runs performed by other colleagues that she works with as well. It shows, again, all those historical runs and the results, as well as the ability to review the reports associated with those runs, which can be accessed by simply clicking on them. So on the completion of the run, the results are displayed wherein Lauren can view the files from the location that essentially match the intent, right? So for example, roadmap, Q4 PowerPoint, Nebula technical specifications, PDF, and all the important files searched and shown through 2 simple steps. She also sees the labels applied to the files and the path, the last modified details. This is a great starting point to investigate and identify if any of the files are not protected appropriately and to be able to take quick action like changing the labels and reporting. If enough evidence is found and full investigation is required, she can then jump into data security investigation or e-discovery for a deeper analysis. So in our case, Lauren has identified that the protection for some files is not appropriate, and especially the labels were either downgraded or not correctly applied, which led to the exfiltration going through, as the DLP policy had the condition based on labeling. She can select the file of interest and take quick action of changing the label and thereby increase their protection stature. So label change is done right there. There's no locating the owner, the file, asking for remediation, all of it's removed. Additionally, as she can observe certain patterns like titles, location, paths, and sensitive information contained, once known to avoid future leaks, she can change the posture of auto-labeling policies in Zava to protect these files up front. She can also generate a quick report for the exploration done and share it for visibility and updates to Audi, which was the user that Thao had showed earlier, and the rest of their security team. The report assists her in understanding the overall content status of the files, and from here, she can pick cues to alter her DLP policies that would cover all sensitive files from exfiltration. Ultimately, protection's improved. So now let's take a step back and think about the bigger picture. We've seen how agents can help us manage the flood of alerts and maintain a strong security posture. But as an admin, Lauren's biggest challenge really is understanding the actual impact of Zava's DLP policies. This is where policy insights comes in. Instead of piecing together information from multiple places or relying on manual checks, policy insights gives us a single unified view. It answers questions like, are policies blocking violations or just auditing them? How do these policies overlap and leave gaps in our coverage? So with general Copilot embedded improvements in DLP, data security admins like Lauren can now use Copilot to compare DLP policies. So with general Copilot, so let's see here. So here we can see some of the key highlights pointed out. And users can also use Copilot to create an executive report for all active policies. So this executive report is generated and it covers an executive summary, alerts, resolution metrics by severity and status, as well as risk insights. In Lauren's case, she is delighted that high-risk alerts have decreased by 93%, and there's an improvement in alert resolution times as compared to the previous week. So she can now paint a week-over-week posture report. The report comes with additional metadata such as top policies having violations, top sources contributing to these violations, and even repeat offenders over the past week. So we hope you'll find the report to be actionable and designed for leadership. In Lauren's case, she can now hand over a packet that tells the story, where Zava stands, what's working, and what needs attention, period. This helps Lauren to reassess and fortify the posture even further. And finally, I have an ask for all of you. Policy insights includes a built-in feedback interface, as do most of the Security Copilot capabilities across Purview. So please do share what's helpful, what's noisy, and what you'd like to see next, all without leaving the page. This feedback really, it goes straight to our product team and it helps shape improvements to ensure that the tool evolves with your needs. So with these new agents and DLP skills, your team's workflow gets a lot more efficient. Tasks that took hours drop to minutes, triage shifts from manual sorting to AI-driven prioritization, with humans making final decisions. And instead of dealing with every alert, analysts can zero in on real risk. So overall, it really helps teams keep collaboration open and reduce their IP exposure and get more done, essentially. So with that, I'm going to pass things over to Doug to walk you through the improvements on our Copilot and Defender side.
Thank you, Alex. I'm Doug Helton. I'm a product manager for Security Copilot for the SOC, essentially, what we call AI for SOC. With me, my partner in crime is Joey Cruz. He's going to drive the slides for us, and we will close out today's session for you. So as we start off, what I would like to really do is, rather than just paint a roadmap, I want to show you kind of the direction way Microsoft is thinking about empowering the SOC through agentic features and agents. Today, as you look at these columns, we're delivering in 3 of these pillars, particularly around threat intelligence, false negative detection, autonomous triage, and vibe hunting. But on the horizon for us, as we continue to build towards this vision, you'll see things like autonomous malware analysis and more. So how we are delivering on this here's a good look at what that architecture looks like. So when we think of Security Copilot, think of it as a service layer that's built on top of overarching capability that includes the tiered storage of Sentinel Lake, MCP servers, APIs, and more. Today, as we look at how Security Copilot is being delivered within the Defender experience, we have a mix of assistive as well as autonomous experiences. We began when we first launched Security Copilot with things like embedded capabilities. Today, we have the phishing triage agent that is in public preview, about to become generally available, and we announced some additional agents that are in public preview today as well. And then even looking further beyond that, we do have the ability within Security Copilot to build your own agents. So while we have tackled some unique use cases from a first-party Microsoft perspective, we have a security store full of third-party solutions. We understand that there's a unique need at times to develop your own capability, and we've provided that workbench for you to do so. Now, if we review the capabilities that are in the product today, particularly those that we have expanded on with Ignite announcements, we're going to start with the embedded capabilities. And with embedded capabilities, we do have the things like incident device, incident summarization, which is helping our analysts get the most important information in seconds. We have capabilities like guided response, which is helping analysts get tailored recommendations for action and execute them right there within one click without leaving the screen. And then we also have script analyzer, which helps analysts quickly understand what a script does and determine whether it's malicious or benign. This is particularly useful for junior analysts who haven't developed the technical expertise to do so on their own yet. When we look at Ignite, we continue to invest in these existing embedded capabilities. One of those that we're excited to talk about is the ability to tailor those tailor the guided response actions to those SOPs that your SOC already utilizes. So within the guided response capability, your team can now upload, configure, and drive recommended tasks for all SOC analysts to follow from within the Security Copilot UI directly within incident and alert views. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So first, we are going to have a interface where you can upload your existing SOPs. And those SOPs can be in a variety of formats. They can be Word documents, they can be PDFs, or text documents, and you can upload them. Security Copilot will then analyze those, evaluate the natural language, and convert them to a suggested guidebook. And then from there, teams can evaluate those options that are presented within the guided response, tune them and customize them if needed, and then launch them and make them available. Perfect. And as you see there, we now have the, nope, that was the correct slide there, Joey. Yep, right there. So now that we have the custom guidebook in play, all your SOC analysts are going to see this view, right? So if you look on the right-hand side there, you will see the custom guidebook option for some of those cards that are going to provide the recommended actions. And again, those are coming directly from your SOP. So the recommended actions are the ones that are specific to our SOC. They're not generalized recommendations. So this is kind of a unique capability. Next, I would like to talk about analyst notes. This is something we also announced at Ignite and is a new capability that really is going to save analysts potentially hours for documentation. We understand working with our SOC partners that one of the things that often falls off the table due to time commitments and ongoing incidents is the documentation of what actually occurred. So with analyst notes, we have the ability to go in and essentially start a recorder. Security Copilot then goes into observation mode while you work on the incident. It'll, when you ask it, it reconstructs your entire investigation timeline, including all steps, actions, and queries taken by the SOC analyst. And it will also generate a summary as well as a full log of your investigation automatically. You can review and edit that and append it to the incident activity log and your case management system as a long-term artifact. This has multiple use cases, ensuring you have long-term documentation of how each incident unfolded and the steps that were taken from an audit and governance standpoint, as well as serving as a useful tool for training your junior analysts and reviewing their work. Moving beyond the embedded capabilities, next I'm going to talk about some of the agents that are now available within Defender through Security Copilot. The first one, and this is really kind of the one that we've been talking about all year, is the phishing triage agent. That is in public preview and will be becoming generally available to all our customers here very soon. One of the things that we are waiting for those who have been waiting is the ability to leverage the Entra agent ID as part of the agent identity and the setup configuration. But for those who have been using and testing the agent, this is some of the feedback we've gotten. St. Luke's, which is a large healthcare organization here in the eastern United States, has described it as a game changer, saving nearly 200 hours a month for their SOC. Microsoft research data shows amazing results as well. Compared to professional human graders for user-submitted phishing, the agent is 6.5 times more effective, 77% more accurate, and helps analysts spend 53% more time on the alerts that need human attention the most. Moving beyond the phishing triage agent is an expanded capability. So we did announce at Ignite that while our initial triage use case focused on the user-submitted phishing use case, we are expanding that. So now we will be looking to tackle identity and cloud alerts. This is entering a preview state. So look for more on this to come, but we recognize that nearly half of all alerts in a typical incident queue are false positives, and defenders are leaving potentially up to 41% of alerts unattended simply because they can't keep up. So building on the capability of the existing phishing triage agent, we will continue to adapt the triage capability within Defender to tackle new alerts and scenarios. Next up is the threat hunting agent. This is essentially a vibe hunting experience using the advanced hunting capability within Defender. This allows SOC analysts to investigate threats simply using natural language and leave it to the agent to speak KQL, write the right queries with the right context, preview the results back into natural language, highlight key insights, and guide the analyst through the entire hunting flow. This includes recommended pivots and next steps, and allow analysts, particularly those junior analysts with very little KQL capability, to accelerate their investigation and response timelines dramatically. Also new with Ignite, The Threat Intel Briefing Agent, which was previously available in the standalone only version of Security Copilot, is now available directly within the Threat Intelligence blade within Defender. So if you go to Threat Intelligence and Threat Analytics, you should see a card if you're a Security Copilot customer allowing you to configure and deploy the Threat Intel Briefing Agent. This agent delivers daily tailored threat briefings that combine Microsoft's global intelligence with your organization's context. So analysts no longer have to piece together intel from multiple sources. Particularly this is for those who are leveraging the Defender vulnerability management and Defender external attack surface management capabilities to tie threat intelligence to their attack surface. Finally, the newest agent that we are announcing is something we call the Dynamic Threat Detection Agent. This is an agent you don't necessarily have to configure and deploy. It's one that runs on behalf of your organization in the background. This agent uses advanced AI to detect new malicious activity that cannot be identified by traditional static detection rules. Its dynamic nature overcomes the need to adapt detections every time attacks evolve. This agent proactively investigates incidents and telemetry, searching for related malicious activity and correlating more hidden behaviors. It generates new alerts on the fly, and the new alerts will have a name generated by the agent to best describe the activity that it's identified. This also enriches the incident with better and more complete attack story and related entities. And then finally, let's take a look at some of these agents in action. So first off, we're going to start with the Threat Intel Briefing Agent. Again, this is under Threat Analytics within the Defender portal. The Threat Intel Briefing Agent will provide a summary of the latest threats and vulnerabilities that are most relevant to me. Pulling from Microsoft Threat Intelligence as well as industry sources, the reports tailored for my organization. Today, the agent highlights a new container escape vulnerability. I know my company Zava now uses cloud containers everywhere, so I definitely need to learn more. I'll head to Advanced Hunting to use the Threat Hunting Agent for a deeper analysis of this vulnerability. The Threat Hunting Agent allows me to move from I don't know how to hunt for this to I can just ask using natural language queries there on the right-hand side. Am I affected by this container escape vulnerability, and run C. The agent immediately connects the context from the TI briefing agent and starts generating a KQL query to search for activities based on its knowledge of the CVE. It then executes the query and delivers a natural language summary of the results that's clear and easy to understand. It confirms that there's an active incident linked to this vulnerability within my organization. I can then review the details of related alerts right here or go to the next relevant incident to further investigate. And with that, Josine, are you picking it up from here?
Nope,
We have
I
Patrick.
am. I'm
No,
now
Patrick
sharing
is.
and taking over. Yep. No, thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Patrick.
So, yeah, no, thanks to all the teams that showed up and ran through their Ignite announcements and gave everybody a great recap of some of the cool stuff coming up and available for Security Copilot. I did want to show this calendar of Security Copilot sessions. So even though Ignite is over, you can go to aka.ms/ignite and sign up, and you can find all of these sessions and build your backpack out to view these sessions at any time that you would like. So we'll leave this up here for another second so you could pause the recording when it shows up. But in addition, we have some links and resources available. So you can visit one of these links or scan the QR code for easy access to start working with Security Copilot and learning how to use it today. But again, with that, I want to thank all of the presenters from all the different teams that showed up today. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody who attended. We really appreciate all of your questions and all of your excitement around Security Copilot, and we look forward to having more of these in the future. Thank you.